meeting, and today is September the 12th, 2016, and it is 6:32. And please stand for the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and forever. Amen. I'd like to establish quorum. We have Councilman Tejada, Councilman Ortiz, Councilman Jimenez, and Councilwoman Cantu. We have a quorum. Please, let's join us for the U.S. Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, we'll take citizen comments. There are no comments? All right, we'll go on to the public hearing. It is 6:33, and it's to consider the 2016-17 proposed City of Floresville budget. Mrs. Turner?
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to be speaking for the comptroller. She's losing her voice tonight, so she will eke out whatever numbers we need. You have before you in your packet, following our mini meetings, the new proposed budget for 2016-2017. Please note that all funds are balanced, and a portion of the reserves was used to balance the budget, which is a common practice, and I'll show you that later on as we go on. And then according to our last audit, the city of Floresville had 45 days in reserve, $435,000 per audited accounts. So looking at the executive overview, these are the additions to following the meeting on last Thursday. These are the additions that were there. 1 through 8 on that page. And as you turn to page, item number 9, talks about the new positions that are added in the budget according to what the council wanted, the one vacant position. Here are our projects that we have. We had to do the event center signage and the electricity because that sign is not in there from hotel motel tax at $200,000. And then the street program will be in a conjunction with staff and contractors once a street maintenance program plan has been approved by City Council. We have received the funds for 2016 tax note. Those funds are in the bank. And so there is additional funding as recommended by Council for the street maintenance program. The organizational chart is attached with the positions eliminated of Director of Operations, Marketing, Communications, and Event Specialist, and the labor position is not necessarily reporting to them, but they're going to be flexible between the different one. There'll be a rotation in. If you look on, let me see, on your budget, as you turn in probably about 4 or 5 pages beyond the general recap, you see that page says General 301 General Fund Recap.
No.
Is that ready?
Okay, recap, government fund.
It says
Government fund.
301 General Fund Recap. Okay. And if you can turn 2 more pages. The top of that is page number 2. When we have the final copy, we will have the pages in numerical order. And at the top it says City of Floresville Proposed Budget Report as of September 30th, 2016. All the way down under miscellaneous, you can see the number says 301, 401, 49950 Reserve Fund Balance Draw. And in 2015-2016 current budget, we had $295,595. That's what we had to help balance the budget. We didn't use those funds, and that's what we had in the 45-day funds. So following that same practice, in this year's budget, we have $223,535, which is a little less than half of your reserve. It's just there. We didn't use it last year. We're hoping not to use it next year, but it's just a reserve, so you only have half of the reserve we're going to have here to make sure we have a balanced budget, and the other half will be set aside. So this is a balanced budget for Fund 301. But it is a common practice that we've done. We did it last year to be able to do that, and I wanted to point that out to you. So do you have any questions of myself or the comptroller?
I have a question. On the new positions, 9A, 2 police officers?
I'm sorry. No, sir, it says new police officer.
Oh, okay.
Where, 9?
9?
I was wrong. I was wrong.
9A, it just
It's
says
seen too many numbers.
new police officer, just one?
Right. Right.
Oh,
Mrs. Turner, the positions that you gave us in the last executive presentation,
They were going to
so
be
the
split,
last meeting, those were already included in the balanced budget, right?
the positions, I'm sorry.
the new police officer, the building inspector, 2 part-time.
The ones that were added were the code compliance and an additional street laborer,
The code compliance and what?
and then one additional street laborer. The two
But
part,
the previous positions that we had discussed in our previous meetings, the balanced budget was presented the last time, were those positions, did I understand you that those positions were already in that budget?
yes, ma'am, yes,
Okay.
ma'am, they were already in the budget.
Okay, so the only difference would be the ones that we added for the last meeting, which was the code compliance and the street laborer and the judge, those adjustments on the,
No, code compliance was in there already.
Code compliance was not in there, the building inspector was already in there.
You had 2 building inspectors, you had said that one was gonna be code compliance.
There was
And-
one building inspector, and we thought the building inspector could do both code compliance and, building inspector, but the council wants to have a code compliance officer. So
Well, my thing was that, that's just like the police officer. I didn't want somebody coming in making $50,000 a year for a code compliance person, when we could hire one between $12 to $15 an hour
and
to
the
do what he
nice-
could. And with a cheaper vehicle, not a $50,000 vehicle with a package loaded and everything else. That's what I didn't want.
Well, what was voted on was a code compliance position in addition to, with a dollar amount not to exceed $15 an hour to start. And that's what we put in the budget.
Mrs. Turner, we were
In
down.
reference to the inequities, Mayor, if you look on the front page, adjustment in salary inequities, remember there was a chart? But I didn't reproduce the chart. I wanted to say that it did include the municipal court clerk adjustment as well as the judge adjustment. That adjustment was, I believe, $300 a month additional for the judge, and one full-time clerk position to be moved to $15 an hour.
So again, what was the amount you had to take out of the reserves to make up for these positions? Did you say the reserves were affected?
What I said was I wanted to point out that to balance the budget, because we wanted to have a balanced budget, we used $223,535. Previous year, the year we're in currently, we had budgeted $295,595 to use to balance the budget. We're hoping not to use those funds because you still have some questions of big pools of money for overtime, for example, how much the raises actually turn out to be. We have some empty, because we have some positions, for example, that one water position wasn't filled. It takes some time to fill the position, so there's some floating in between there, but that's what will be reserved. But just to let you know that we did set aside $223,535 to balance the budget this year. Last year, we used $295,595 in that budget to balance it as well. We haven't had to dip into it, but we use it to actually reserve. So then there's another $200-some thousand out there that we won't be tapping into.
I still don't understand it because in the last meeting, we were balanced with the majority of the new positions. And the ones we added would not have amounted to that much. So that's why I'm questioning it, because as I asked you in the email I sent you earlier, give us some preliminary numbers on those positions that were added in the last meeting. Because all the others were already in the balanced budget, isn't that correct? Is that what you told us?
Yes, I didn't get the email that said you wanted those, what you said, what you wanted to know if you could have the numbers for the budget by noon, and I said I was gonna have them by noon.
I said I was interested in those positions that we added the last time, because if it had been like 50,000, we could have looked at. My concern is taking money out of the reserves. Okay, so if we had looked at it, perhaps there would have been another solution to it.
May I please explain, and please bear with me, my voice is not that clear. When you are preparing a budget, you look at the estimated revenues and estimated expenditures. They're not always lined up together. You're not always receiving the same amount of revenues that you're gonna dish out. This year, we're not getting enough Avalon tax, and we're not getting enough sales tax, okay? In order for me or any accountant to balance the budget, you either take a little bit from fund balance or you put in from to fund balance. This is what it means. When you have more expenditures than revenues, and then you're gonna pull out a little bit and you put that one line item on the expense part of it to balance the budget.
And I understand that, and we were balanced in the last meeting.
Well, the last meeting was 168,000 on that one line item.
Okay, so you're saying that prior to balancing the budget, you already had tapped into the reserve?
Yes, at an amount of about 168,000.
No. When I balanced the budget, I tapped in 168,000.
Okay,
And now with the new changes, it went up to,
yeah, so they had another 30. something.
yes.
230.
Okay.
I wasn't told it was the first time around when we had a balanced budget.
No, that wasn't said,
That was not said.
It was in the executive report that we had a balanced budget,
yes.
Without any reserve.
That's how you balance a
without,
budget,
and
sir.
no mention of reserves.
No mention at all.
Because you're not actually using it. At the end of the year, like this year, when it happens this year, is that you're gonna collect more revenues than you estimated. And that's gonna make up for the difference. So,
In other words, you're saying that you may use a reserve and you may not. It
You may not.
Either you may add or you may take away
Correct.
according to the sales tax and ad valorem taxes.
correct.
And this
Yeah,
is
that's
based
right.
also on the 4.5, if you would give the 4.5 across the board.
Yes, and also that's gonna be a savings because I budgeted 4.5 for everybody, which is not gonna happen. So that's gonna lower whatever amount of money if we tap into the fund balance, it's gonna lower it.
Okay, and I know the new position that we're looking at will not be on board by October 1.
Well, no position will be on.
Right, so that'll be,
Another savings, yeah. So not necessarily just because you have a fund, a budget balance, that means that you're gonna, whatever you're putting into that account, that's how much you're gonna use up. At the end of the year, it's like I said, even though you have a balanced budget, you're gonna operate with whatever you collect. You're not gonna spend any more than what you're collecting, and that will prevent you from tapping into that reserve.
That's why we give a monthly report at the city council meetings to show what our revenue is based on our expenditures, and we show the difference. So we try to stay within whatever we collect and don't spend more than we collect.
the one question I had also on item number 5, under the executive overview, it was my understanding that we wanted to correct the inequities for all 3 of those positions.
Okay, so there was a chart that we talked about inequities and it listed the positions. And at the last council meeting, and I did confirm with the attorney before the meeting started, was that the vote was to increase one municipal clerk full-time to amount of $15 an hour, and the judge have an increase to the amount of $300 a month. Am I right or did I mistake that?
Correct. The items that were passed, one was tabled that addressed the other clerks. The item that was passed was only for the one full-time municipal clerk, and then the other one was for the judge's salary.
Okay, I either made the motion or made the second, and my understanding was for all 3.
That wasn't part, that would be in violation of the Open Meetings Act if that was the case.
Why?
Because the item before that addressed those positions was tabled by the council.
No. The action item was,
CNA to increase the salary of the municipal.
But he was last. They talked about the,
so there's only one?
It was the position that had just,
It was the
Correct.
administrator position, the first one on the
Yeah.
list.
it was N, yes.
How does it read?
CNA to increase the municipal court clerk's rate of pay.
Okay, so there's only one clerk.
Right, there's the one municipal court clerk.
The one full-time
There's
clerk.
two clerks, and
So we didn't,
it has to be promoted.
we didn't promote that, part-time employee,
Correct.
No, that was not on.
right?
That was tabled, and it also, that item also included the, an increased rate of pay
Right.
on that one. That whole item was tabled.
Okay, so there's only one full-time clerk, and that's it.
Correct.
Correct, and that salary has been in inequities, has been changed in this budget for $15 an hour, and the judge at $300 a month additional, as per you voted at that meeting on Thursday. Anything in reference to any of the other clerks, it would just be a merit raise that's based on what the judge said. That was not the action that was taken.
Okay, what are their titles?
I think part-time
Part-time,
They're
part-time.
not called municipal clerks,
Deputy Clerk.
deputy clerk?
Yes,
There's two municipal courts.
There are a total of one full-time and two part-time clerks in that division.
Because right here on this sheet that we're given,
Yeah.
it says court clerk, court clerk, court clerk, 3 times.
Yeah, that was on the budget that we went through, remember?
Yeah.
But the action that you took was on the full-time, that was my understanding. The action that you took was on the one full-time clerk. The
It
action
was
of the
discussed
part-time
equalizing the pay with
Right.
Wilson County for the jail.
Right.
was the one clerk. So the one about the part-time, moving it from part-time to full-time was tabled. And in that table, then you would have tabled anything to do with their increase. Because we were just speaking to the full-time clerk. But in anticipation of what's on the agenda, the comptroller has figured out an increase if you do make it from part-time to full-time at the rate of 15. She has those numbers calculated.
Say it again?
I said in anticipation of what's on the agenda, she has calculated and figured out what that increase would be to the budget if you decide to do that.
It's in there?
To do what?
To increase the part-time to a
Just
full-time.
one, and that's the
That
other.
would be
Items
just
are on
one.
2B of this agenda.
So she has those numbers calculated. You can ask those when she.
For one
gets-
only?
Well, then if we're talking about equalizing, how does that become equal?
That was not my recommendation. You would have to ask the judge. That was his recommendation.
That's on B.
We wanted to equalize all three things.
I'm sorry, Judge, I can't hear you. Can you
We
stand up
wanted
at the mic?
to equalize all three at the same pay, because remember I told you all that the county is
Yeah,
paying
all three,
15, the
right.
jail is paying
Right.
1547.
Mhm. But we
And
did
then you all
vote on all
voted on all
three.
three.
We did vote on it.
Except for this one, that's gonna be.
No, there was only
There was
one
only
clerk
one.
and one judge.
And my understanding was all 3.
You said it was 3, and then you said it was 1, and then somebody told me they heard the tape, and it's 3. I don't know who,
Did you play the tape?
No, I didn't play the tape for anybody. Nobody
when
heard the
the
tape.
lady told me this morning that she heard the tape.
Unless they pulled
and
it from
was
online.
3.
If Wilson County News has it online, they heard it online, but our tape here, nobody has asked for it. So
Yeah.
nobody has heard it.
Well, I had one of the clerks said that she heard the tape, and it was 3.
And that's why I said it's probably online, the Wilson County News. I don't know if they have it online already.
Mhm.
I think the.
You don't have it online from the Thursday's meeting? Okay.
So officially, from my recollection, and I spoke to the clerk and checked with their attorney, the action that you took on Thursday night included one full-time clerk to increase that salary to $15 an hour. The issue with the part-time clerk's salary, and if it was gonna become full-time, was tabled.
Right.
And then the action for the municipal court judge was $300 additionally a month. That is reflected in here, and that's what I was saying on that issue,
Right.
because I didn't want to refer to the chart again.
No, that's exactly right. That's my recollection.
So that's the action. However, this comptroller, in anticipation, if a part-timer is going to go to full-time at the salary of 15, she has done the calculations
So,
in preparation of this.
Well,
but on the judges, they've always had one full-time, and the rest of them are part-timers.
Correct.
And
He now has
that's
two.
what,
He had, originally, the clerk had, the judge had one, and then we went to one and one part-timer, and then he went to one and two part-timers. So he has a full-time clerk, two part-time, and a warrant officer.
Okay,
Yeah.
and we're balanced right now.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Without any other increase.
Well, we have that calculation for the increase, and we can
Right,
make
but
the
is that
adjustment.
But that's not for all of them, it's just for.
No, it is not
Just
reflected
one.
because that's not what you all passed.
Right.
Okay.
I do have
So
it
no additional increases in this budget?
No.
for, in
It's
reference
only what
to,
you passed. I only put what you passed.
in reference to the municipal clerk, correct.
That,
That full-time and part-time is not in there, and the part-time going to 15 is not in there.
Okay.
the full-time, I mean, the part-time, go to full-time is not there?
No, sir, that was tabled.
Right.
That was tabled,
Right, yes.
remember? So-
But didn't, kind of say it's in the budget if it goes to?
No, it's not in the budget.
It's not in the budget.
But she has done the calculations, so that you can ask that question if you want to pass the budget with that amendment, you can.
Right, the important thing tonight is to pass the budget, a balanced budget. And so if anything needs to be done, perhaps it can be amended like other things have been amended in the
Well,
past.
you can make a motion, you can refer to your attorney, but you can make one with pass his budget with that
With
amendment
that
on
amendment.
it. And we can go ahead, she's already done the calculations, or you can do a budget amendment at a later time.
Can we do that? With that amendment?
It would be within the bounds of the law, depending on what the council wants to do
Right.
when the item comes up.
Okay.
And it comes up before adoption of the budget, so.
Well, we gotta see how we're doing first on our,
Yeah, I think.
we're already balancing,
Right.
what is that gonna do to our
Well,
balanced
it's gonna
budget?
increase your bottom line to $10,487 a year
For one person,
for one
For
person.
one-
and it'll
And
be
we did-
30-something thousand for three.
No, we already have
You already have the
We already have
one,
one.
you already have the one
We already
full-time.
have one.
To have a part-time clerk to increase to a full-time clerk at 15.
But right now, how many part-time clerks does he have? Two?
Two.
Two part-timers.
So to increase that part-time clerk to become full-time will be about $10,500.
With
And to
benefits.
increase the other part-time to be equal as the others?
At $15 an hour,
It will be more because her rate is at $11.
That part-time, I mean, doesn't want to be increased, right, because of the
Well,
stability?
she told me this morning that she had been telling me she could only make so much. This
Yeah,
morning
so-
she said, now I can make whatever I want to. So I said,
Well,
No.
we need a,
so Chris,
We
we're
just
still in the public hearing
keep
portion?
my-
Yeah, we're still in the public hearing.
everybody get questions.
Keep everybody first?
Right now.
Just that one thing.
Okay.
No, just-
Any other questions, council? We can't vote on anything right now, so do y'all have any other questions?
We're still in the public hearing, so
Right, we're still in the
Well, we
public
can talk,
hearing.
well, you can talk about anything in the budget.
you can talk about anything in the budget right now.
You can talk about anything in the budget that you like.
But as far as actually action, that'll come.
Is everyone okay with the org chart? Any questions on the org
Just for
chart?
the sake of discussion, can you calculate what that would be if we went from the part-time to that salary?
Just
To
one.
equalize the salary?
$10,500.
No, the other way.
I say keep the one person full-time, but bring their salary to
No,
$4.
keeping both, got one person full-time and two part-timers, but the both part-timers making the same pay.
And keep them, both stay at part-time, but make
Yes.
15.
This
The
one's
request
gonna
was
cost
to
you
make the
$3.
other part-timer at
That the one that's going to
$11.90.
full-time? $3 an hour.
We need to equal.
Brandy cost you all, like $2.60.
I'm sorry, sir. You're talking on top of someone else. Could you
Judge.
step up?
Yeah, but-
I heard,
Judge,
I was listening to the judge.
Oh, well,
Judge.
one at a time, because I,
Yeah, okay.
Judge, you can't say names.
Just
You
position.
can't say names. You can't say anybody's name.
But the request on this paper was $11.92.
Right.
So both the part-timers are gonna make $11.92.
No,
No.
no, because his action here is to make one of those part-timers, it's $11.92, that's one of those part-timers up to 15
Right.
And full-time.
and full-time.
We already have a full-time clerk.
That's the judge's recommendation.
No, I understand that.
Yes, sir, you have a full-time clerk
Yeah.
and two part-time clerks.
Yeah, because the part-time clerks, they usually come and go, they work for a while, and then they leave. Yeah, that's true. So, I mean,
Well-
it won't be the same You hired another part-timer for the same amount that has, one that has already experience for, been here 15
To help you,
15 years or whatever.
to help you make a decision, if we have two part-timers in municipal court, if one of the full-timers is, moved up to be from part-time to full-time, and then from $12 an hour to $15 an hour, that affects, benefits. And that's the reason why it's so much. If you, the other part-timer, if you only increase the rate from 10.92 to 11.92,
Yes.
plus the percentage, and then that will bring her up, and it will not be a big hit on the budget or on the bottom line, because it's just a few dollars.
Right.
But the major one is making a part-time to a full-time, because part-time, you're not providing any
Benefits.
benefits, then you, if it becomes a full-time, and then you have to by law provide all the salary, that
Okay.
benefit.
Ms. Connie, but to keep them equal, to
What,
equalize them,
that's
to make it
that's the
fair,
number we want.
that's what we want. So
Okay,
as
if you wanna
part-timers-
keep them
As
equal,
part-timers.
as part-timers,
Yes,
and
well-
then what you can do is you can adjust the base pay, which is the hourly rate, to the same rate for both.
Okay.
But what's that number though? What does that calculate to?
Well, these two part-timers are above even any full-timer that we have in the city. Because if you hire a laborer, you hire that person at $10
But
an hour.
the whole argument that the judge presented was that for them to be equal compared to other positions working in the county.
No.
Okay, if you
they're
wanna
higher
make
than
it
what we have
equal,
here.
if you wanna make it equal for both part-timers, and then for both to earn $12 an hour. You already have one part-timer at $12, so you
Wait.
increase the other one at $12.
You're determining what the judge, you're saying something contrary to what he's saying.
No, I'm just answering your question. How can you equalize their pay
Okay.
as the two part-timers?
The salary that was recommended was not $12.
Well, the salary that was recommended was to move her as
Okay,
full-time.
no, that's not the
And
salary,
16,000.
that's changing it, or
Position.
her position. We're talking about the salary, the hourly wage.
Okay, so if you just wanna do the $15 without benefits, keep them at part-time, and then you can do, if not all 15, $14 each.
Okay.
Or $15 each. But you cannot bring them up to be full-time, both of them, because that's gonna include benefits.
One doesn't want to go to
If I could maybe.
one doesn't want to.
One of the things that could happen is that you have to remember that you do have longevity and reward those who have been here for some time. And I know that the full-time position for that department has been here as long as I've been here, so that would be at least 3 years come October 1. And so you have, that's the key and your lead person there. And so I don't know how fair it would be to pay all the clerks in there the same amount of money. When you have one that's been in this municipal court for 3 years, and the other ones have been here less, and you definitely get paid based on experience and time. And so I don't have any argument with the judge in reference to $15 an hour for the full-time, if that's what you want to do to be competitive. But when you have a part-time person making as much as a full-time person, and the full-time person has been in this position for 3 years, there is an inequity there. So all of them should not make the same.
So the part-time should be the lower.
A little lower, even if it's 56.
What is the full-time make?
The full-time now will be making 15.
So what would you recommend for the part-time?
Somewhere between $14 an hour. That $1 an hour would make a big difference, just if nothing else in reference to the hierarchy, so that we know that the main clerk is full-time and she makes 15, and then the other two clerks will answer to her, make $14 an hour. So the two clerks will be equal.
So basically, what you might recommend is make the part-timers $14 an hour.
Yes, and the main clerk that you've already approved at 15.
So that way we
Okay, so
achieve the goal of,
What does that come out to come?
That's gonna help me bring down the budget, because what I have calculated here is $10,000, almost $10,500, but that includes salaries.
And so this way,
Benefits.
yeah, so it won't be such a.
Okay, so 14.
I would say
should be
somewhere
good.
about $14 an hour, and
Okay.
another one 15, because she has been here.
That way everybody stays satisfied.
It just,
Judge?
that would be what, just the judge.
Let me, remember Mr. Nissan said that anything over 25, 30 hours could be considered full-time, right?
I've never known that to be true.
No.
No, once you reach
You
a
have
certain
to-
salary threshold,
then it comes up to where you go from being hourly to being salaried.
So now it's up to you, Judge, to make sure if it's 30 hours that they're doing, make sure that they don't go over 30 hours, so that way we won't be in violation.
Texas is 32 hours.
Yeah, it needs to be monitored.
Excuse me?
It needs to be monitored so they don't go over those
I
hours.
know. Seems like
Yeah.
everything we
And
do
the county
is
does
run.
that, because I know someone who works part-time.
Yeah, but that has to be adopted by the city. That's a rule that wage and hour doesn't stipulate. It's left up to the city council.
Yes, but your TML, your retirement will recognize, they will say that they will count that person as a full-time person depending on how many hours that you have. So seasonal hours,
32.
so it's less, it's 32 for TML, it's 32, so you can't work more than 32. We usually try to keep them less than that. So,
32.
you know, and if you have like 32, some weeks when you have more than 32,
I'll have to research that, but I believe it's.
but TML, when we started doing it part-time, because we didn't have part-time employees, when I first got here, when we first started with part-time employees, we looked and researched it, and TML says 32, so we have to work less than that. If you work more than that consistently for all the weeks, then you have to have them participate in the retirement program.
And tonight, we're not considering that, we're just considering the amount per hour, so.
Yes.
Okay.
So 14 for both?
Huh?
14 for both?
We'll do that as an
And Chris,
amendment.
how do we, since it's not an action item, how do we?
It will be in 2A, but we're not there yet.
When we
So
get
I have to
the
monitor
item C.
myself too, huh, because I told you all that I work 25, 30, 35 hours.
That's-
Cut it off at 20. Right?
I'm sorry, Judge, I didn't hear you.
No, I was telling them that I work 20, I'm supposed to work 20 hours. 25, 30, 35, don't matter to me.
You said you work 80, sir.
I have to
I heard
monitor
it.
myself to hold it at 20 hours,
Okay.
Yes.
right? Okay.
All right, council, do y'all have any questions about the organizational chart? Mrs. Turner, on the chart, is this going to be amended? You still have the mechanic, the laborer under city mechanic?
Yeah, that's the floater that can float in and out from whatever position.
Okay, the floater. And I see you added code compliance. You don't see anything else? It's about 30, the cover sheet.
Bishop,
Did she go to full-time or not?
That's another item on the agenda.
no, we haven't taken any votes yet.
Not yet.
We haven't taken any
Oh,
votes
okay.
yet.
Real quick, if I can, on here, does code compliance reports permit tech and permit tech reports to building inspector and building inspector?
No, they just,
So it just needs to be
yeah, they just all online.
re-angled?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
who does the code compliance answer to?
Ultimately, they all to the communications. I'm sorry, I need to find it in front of me.
They report up to the community development?
Yes, they all report up to community development.
That's just changing the lines. Adoption.
So it needs to be sidelined instead of
So we'll have,
Yes.
the middle.
So-
It needs to be one, two, three. They'll all report like that to her.
we'll have that line and then have them just each come down like that.
They added the bottom one.
Okay, y'all have any
So-
questions?
So the community development is doing, so she's not gonna be doing the permit?
We'll have
You
a,
have there's a permit tech.
a permit tech and code compliance.
I know, but I thought you said the community development person was gonna be doing the permits. So now you have an extra person doing the permit?
The person was always there, sir.
Huh?
The permit tech was always there.
This one was ready.
And we still have the community development director.
Yes, sir.
All right, anything else y'all want to ask before I open it up to the public? Because I know Mr. Lawhon has questions. Easy.
One question.
All right, please step up.
Sure.
Identify yourself.
Jim Lawhon, and this is just a clarification for me, might have already answered this. For your 301 recap. What is the 2016, 2017 fund balance?
Right here. Remind me if I show it.
I know.
Okay. For 2016, 15, 16, the reserve fund balance draw was 295,595 for the current budget, and what we're proposing for the new budget is 223,535.
Okay.
What was it last year, Henry?
295,595. Now, your total amount of your reserves, that's 400 and, what kind of? 435. 435 is the total amount of the reserve.
And that's what you're forecasting for the end of 2016, 2017? Okay, thank you. That's all I'm saying.
Did I answer those questions?
But that money that we set aside from reserve was unused, is that correct?
No, it is not used.
Okay, any other comments? Then we'll close it. We'll close the public hearing at 7:08. Thank you so much, Ms. Turner. All right.